So this one is going to be for all my spiritual practitioners. Let's talk about how Saturn and Neptune's movements are going to be affecting us for the next year or so. First thing to start with, Saturn's going to go direct on November 15th. Keep your spirits fed. Keep yourself fed. If you have an ancestral altar, keep them fed. If you work with the gods or offer to the gods, keep them fed. If there's any offerings that you make out in nature, okay, keep them fed. Whatever it is that you are doing as a practitioner to keep your spirits up and lifted and fed and nourished, that's protective. That is a protective work. Even though there's so many other things that we receive from offerings, that we make offerings, we receive from those offerings, all right, it is like a circle, a cycle. That's Venus, really, in astrology. That's true. Keep your spirits fed, especially for the people who are more new practitioners or like newbie people within a practice or a craft. First of all, keep yourself fed. Keep you fed, okay? What do you need? What does your spirit need? How can you lift yourself? How can you pick yourself up? How can you strategize? How can you protect yourself? How can you guard yourself? What is it that you need? And how can you give yourself that thing? How can you lift yourself up? How can you love yourself? Sometimes I gotta stop. I can feel I'm stressed right now. How do I love myself in this moment? Sometimes sitting down watching a movie and eating some popcorn is good enough, okay? Sometimes we're humans, we have other things to do, but that's true. The reason I say keep your spirits fed is because when Saturn goes direct, let's talk about this. When Saturn goes direct, we have been allotted the full amount of time to reconsider anything in our spiritual lives and transitions that we are making in our lives, spiritual or not, and how that is connected to the spirit. That's true. And because we have been allotted that full amount of time within those spiritual practices and spaces and lessons, Saturn is going to kind of look at all of us and be like, all right, kids, time to go. Like, we got to go whether we're ready or not. So I hope you're ready. Let's keep going. That's why I say keep your spirits fed. Because, at least for me, okay, when I keep them fed, that they sit in preparation with me constantly and consistently. It doesn't matter where I am or what I'm doing. I might not understand the preparation that I'm going through. Most of the time I don't, to be honest with you. But if I keep them fed, then when things happen that are big things that happen, then I have the preparation because I have kept them fed and they keep me up on my toes where I need to be. So that's number one. Number two, Neptune's going to go direct on December 7th. Now, Saturn and Neptune right now are both in Pisces. They're both in Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is also the accumulation and the finalization of every single other thing within the astrology chart. So it is very, very large. There's just like a lot of energy. Okay, it's the veil for a reason. We're moving on from everything we've been through. We're going into something new. And with Neptune going direct, both Saturn and Neptune will both be headed into Aries at that point. They're not stopping before they get to Aries. And then we have some weird stuff going on when Saturn and Neptune are going into Aries next year. I say weird stuff because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the sign of Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is the sign of leadership. Yes, it's also about birthrights, okay? It attracts enemies. It's also how we guard our harvests and how we strategize our skills, our tools. How are we preparing and prioritizing? With Saturn and Aries, well, really anytime, but especially with Saturn and Aries, prioritize that space where Mars is in your chart. The house that Mars is in, what is Mars ruled by? If you wanted to get into like the super nitty gritty web of Mars, okay, look at the first house, the 8th house, Aries, Scorpio, and the houses that Aries and Scorpio are in, and then any placements that are also in Aries and Scorpio. That is super extra homework, but also, if you wanted to look at it, necessary. Because we have several conjunctions, like not just one, several of them happening, of Saturn and Neptune at 1 degree in Aries next year. I think in 2026 too. I'd have to double check on the dates, all right, but they're coming up. And one thing about Neptune, if you can make it all the way through the shadow, so like the dreamscape, any shadow work you might need to do on a healing level, any shadow work you might need to do within like walking blind into a situation and preparing yourself and just not really understanding what's going on, but having the wit to sit and not quit, oh my god, the rhymes, and integrate the information that is needed and necessary while in that shadow space. Because it's Aries, so there's light. It's the beginning. It's literally the beginning of like, let there be light. Here is a new start. Here's a spark. So when Saturn and Neptune get into Aries, we're still feeling this connection of spiritual order because Saturn and Neptune are still together and they're moving very close to each other, even if they're not conjunct. And they're going to be retrograding back into Pisces too. So we still have a really, really big Piscean, Neptunian influence within Saturn stuff that's happening next year and in 2026. And I'm pretty sure part of 2027, but I haven't looked that far in detail, but I'm pretty sure. And those conjunctions of Saturn and Neptune are opportunities for people who are dedicated, persistent, consistent, do it every day sort of practitioners. Those are the conjunctions where the power can be reclaimed. And I don't mean on just an individual level. Saturn is the seat and the position within a hierarchy, okay? Wow, this could imply a lot of stuff. So, discern as necessary. With Neptune, it's probably going to be more within like the spiritual realms and maybe not so grounded in the physical. And Aries is going to be more about the youth and like the reclamation of the power of the youth, the reclamation of the birthright of the youth. So that also applicable. But those conjunctions, okay, let's return to that. Those are reclamation of things that have been done prior to allow us to have a new beginning within spiritual spaces, spiritual communities, spiritual practices, and spiritual order. And if there is not how do I say this? Having it together spiritually is really important for those days. Don't say that to scare you, but the world just took a turn, so it's good to be prepared in the big picture of things. This is a really long video. Sorry I haven't been on the internet. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I have been knocked out. I've been knocked out cold. Well, okay, maybe not cold. I have had a fever. I've been very sick. I had my birthday and then immediately got called into work. I don't ever get called into work, like my spiritual work. I don't ever get called. If I get called into work, it's serious. And I got called into work like November 1st. So I was like, all right, here we go. And I have been recovering since then. So spiritual dissonance is no joke. It's no joke. I'm gonna keep bringing the astrology updates because you know what? That's what I do here. So gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep doing what you need to do. Keep up your brew. It's important that you do that, okay? And that's gonna look different for everybody. Sometimes, like I said, sitting and doing nothing is also a brew. But if you have things to do, you also know that you have things to do. So discernment for you. That's true. Take care of yourself out there, okay? I'm grateful for you. I give reverence to you. And I'm sending my love too. I'm gonna go make some more videos about some more astrology stuff. So if I see you there, I see you there. And if not, then take care. And I'll talk to you soon.